Hey, this is about transforming your pain into purpose. Now, don't be alarmed by the title. I'm pretty sure whoever's listening, you and I, and many, many, many people in this world go through a lot of trauma. This world, if you exist here, you have some kind of trauma. I'm not saying everybody goes through it, but most of you listening to it, or at least you that's listening to it, you may have gone through some kind of trauma maybe during your childhood, adulthood, whatever the situation it is. At some point, this trauma has broken you. You felt extremely broken and you drifted to a place where you don't recognize your old self anymore. Because if you are somebody, I hope not, but if you are somebody that's constantly, you know, constantly felt and experienced pain, disappointments after disappointments, then probably this might, you know, resonate with you. What I mean is, if you are somebody who has constantly experienced a lifetime of pain and ache and disappointments, and you're almost at the, edge, you just want to give up. You just don't want to keep doing this anymore. I'm talking to you. And if you feel like this and you feel like this world is full of, emptiness, hopelessness, the people that don't love you, that don't understand you, the people that don't deserve you or your love. Because let's say you're extremely giving, you're empathetic, right? You're extremely understanding and sensitive, and somehow the other person cannot relate to you. This is mostly the case if you're listening to this. I want to tell you something. Excuse me. This is also from a personal perspective and personal point of view because I'm just like you. You are just like me. And I have also understood that, walking through the path of pain is not easy. And if you are somebody that does it alone, I don't even want to say more power to you, but I really, really, really have extreme amount of respect and gratitude for you because no matter what, no matter how much you're broken, every day you show up. I don't mean you show up to the world or to the work or your family. I mean you show up for yourself. You're, even if you are right now in survival mode, I respect you a lot for this because sometimes surviving is difficult. Surviving is not easy. I often hear people talk about, you get out of survival mode, you have to get out of survival mode. You need to come into, you need to live instead of survive. And I 100%, I completely agree with this. But if you happen to be somebody in a survival mode, I'm extremely grateful to you because you know what? After facing so much trauma, after so much heartache, and after doing everything alone, I don't mean physically alone, but mentally and emotionally in your heart space, you just feel alone and lonely. The first thing that happens after experiencing so much trauma is survival mode. Sometimes people do, people have different types of trauma that they go through, but survival mode happens at the beginning. It's the first thing. We drown in survival mode. We realize things, we work on things, and healing journey, as I always say, is never easy. When you're healing, you're looking at the parts of yourself, you're experiencing different emotions, different versions of you come up. Sometimes it's not pleasant, and you don't like yourself like that, but you're not able to hold everything inside. And I totally understand because everything has a limit. Your heart has a limit, your physical body has a limit because when you're taking too much internally, your heart and your, it's weighing on your mind and it's weighing on your heart, then it starts showing up physically for you because physically you start suffering. And I totally understand all of this, and every single thing is true, and I'm somebody who's gone through this, and that's the only reason I'm telling you this. And I'm not, you know someone that's done it all and had it all. I'm also someone like you that's in the process, and I just want to tell you this video, I don't have a written or a purpose or a script for this video. This is me just talking to you because I understand you. I truly understand where you're coming from. And at this moment, you're probably also somebody who feels broken, extremely broken, hopeless, and probably you also think that the world around you perceives you as somebody with zero positive abilities. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if you are somebody who's taken some time off to just concentrate on your healing journey, because sometimes when you're healing, it's extremely difficult for you, because also if you are somebody in anxiety and in depression, it's extremely difficult for you to also show up in jobs, in relationships. Even having a regular conversation is killing you somehow. And if you're extremely sensitive, it's the worst case, I would say. But you're here. You're Even if you're in survival mode, you're here, right? Probably some days you don't even feel like waking up, or some days you just want to sleep through many days, right? You just want to sleep through months and months and days, and you just don't want to get up. You don't want to open your eyes to what's happening around you. I understand it's extremely difficult for you, but if you can hear me out for a second, I just want to tell you this. If you are somebody that feels the world is extremely hopeless, and let's say your life does not have a purpose, and you also feel like everything around you is crashing, and wherever you are right now, whatever age, whatever race, whatever color you are, wherever you are, I mean, these things literally does not matter. Who matters is you, your heart. There's no label on your heart. Trust me, there's no label on your heart. You as a person, you are, wealth, you are a treasure. So do not label yourself with, my financial status is this, or, I'm this, because these are labels people like to stick on you. The world likes to stick on you, and I request you to not give in to these labels, because these labels do not define who you are. When you are sitting alone on your own, you know who you are. You know your thoughts better. And most of your thoughts, I always say this, that if somebody has gone through extreme amount of trauma and pain and hopelessness in life, there are two things, there are two ways that they look at life. One, bitter experiences either make people better or bitter. And probably if you are somebody who thinks that you've been hurt by so many people around you, and you don't want that kind of suffering for anybody around you, and you think that this world deserves better, people deserve better, you deserve better and good, right? So hear me out. How about just giving it a shot? Okay, how about just giving it a shot? I'm telling you this because if you feel completely unable, and if you completely feel like I'm shattered and I don't have energy, I understand this, but hear me out, okay? So, whatever I described so far was pain. You're in pain, you're dealing with pain, but with all of this pain, you gained a realization, didn't you? That something is happening around you that is not right. Something around you needs correction. Let's say the people around you are extremely rude, and probably you are somebody that no matter how much heartache you go through, you always hold space for people. You're always wanting good things for people, no matter what your own suffering or what your own life looks like. You always want better, right? And through your journey of silent suffering, I mean silent suffering, because when you're suffering for a very long time in silence, too many things start to unfold. you know the reality about the world, the reality about people around you, the reality about how the world works, why it works the way it does, and what you can change about it. You have gained extreme wisdom. Trust me, and you know it too. And there's no way you can deny this. You have gained extreme amounts of wisdom, right? Trust me, I was led here like this, and I'm telling you this too. So if you just think, maybe just pick up the phone if you can. I mean, you don't have to put your face up. You don't have to put yourself out there. There are different ways to make videos, or you just can make videos on your normal camera, on a normal phone. You don't need any extra, you know, even you don't need extra editing right now. How about just sharing your life experiences, your stories, your creativity, whatever you think of that you can do? How about just sharing it? Let's not even look at the subscribers, let's not even look at the views, let's not look at the money. How about just starting because you have something in you which might benefit somebody else? You, through all your pain and trauma and everything that you have gone through, you have mastered all these things now. So how about talking about what you have mastered, right? You may have mastered your healing journey, you may have understood how the world works, something, right? Through your healing journey you learned that something is not right, something needs correction. Or you might be somebody that's extremely loving, I mean extremely loving and giving, and you're an empath, right? And you can understand people's emotions and you talk to them. So why not just talk to them? Do not bother about your audio quality, your video quality. It does not matter right now. If somebody can hear your words, it's a huge thing, because some people need to hear. For them to take any action, they just need to hear. How about you just sharing what you feel like? See, why I say transform pain into purposes. Okay, if I have to give you an example, I'll give you an example, okay? So there was this girl called Daisy. You know, she went to the best college, she was a literature student and everything, and everybody around her, right? Her peers and her friends and everyone, they could write so beautifully. I mean, extremely beautifully, but they could all write, but there is some amount of depth that was still missing, but she didn't know about it because she thought everyone around her is an amazing writer, right? And she, every single time she took out the book to write, she couldn't even think about what she wanted to write. So this happens to Daisy. She's in her college and she happens to have the worst heartbreak ever. The worst heartbreak ever. And guess what happens? She does not have anybody around her to um you know to share her feelings or whatever, and she's suffering in silence just like you are. And she starts writing. She thinks that she's in a two-way conversation with this person and herself, so she starts writing. Guess what? The way she started writing, it blew her own mind. She never thought she could connect points like that. You know, that was the beginning. It opened that extreme amount of pain, opened doors for her. It became her purpose to share, to share her experience in this way. So, this is what I request you to. You are not hopeless. I cannot emphasize enough about how precious you are to all of us, to this planet, to the divine. And if only if you happen to be somebody that believes in God or in divine, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. There is going to be a day. I know it feels far, but trust me, there is going to be a day. And I cannot emphasize this enough. This is my personal experience. Feel free to judge. If you want to watch this, fine. If you don't, again, feel free to click off. I would just like to say, even I am led here by the divine. I don't even think that whatever words come out of my mouth right now, I could have done it on my own. And this video that I'm making right now does not even need views. Even if it finds somebody that wants it, if it finds you, if it has found you, I'm extremely grateful. And I hope you understand what I'm trying to convey to you. That you are a treasure, you're a wealth. We're all suffering in silence. The concept of a diamond, right? When there's extreme pressure, and it's beneath the ground, you know, covered in layers of fossils and everything, and it gets discovered, and then it later transforms into a diamond because there's extreme amount of pressure on the coal, you know, and that coal turns into diamond. That's what I mean for you. I mean this more for you than for me right now. You're extremely precious to us. You're extremely precious to this world. Imagine this. Just imagine this. Let's say you are somebody I do not know about what age you are in, whatever it is. And let's say you have a younger sibling or you have a child of your own. All this trauma that you have gone through, if you just stand there and look at your sibling or your child, would you ever want to reflect all those trauma onto them? Never, right? You start to become so conscious and aware about how you want to raise them, what kind of happiness you want to give them, what is right and what is wrong. See, that's what I mean. You know, you are personally caring for somebody so much. Why not just share it, on the internet? Don't expect anything out of it right now. Let's just say that. Do it because it feels good. Do it because you don't have to be alone. You are not alone. At least I acknowledge you, whoever you are, wherever you are. And even if this reaches one person, I'm extremely happy because it reached you. And if you have made it through the end of this video, I don't ask you for subscription, I don't ask you for likes. All I want you to do is just drop me a comment, saying anything. I just want to know personally that this has reached you. And I'll be extremely happy that, you have seen this, you have watched this, and you have acknowledged this message that I've put out only for you. And that's all I want to say. I hope you understand. And if you want me to talk about any other topic that's troubling you or you want me to address it, kindly drop it in the comment and I will definitely get back to you. And I'm sending you an extremely, you know, before anything, I just want to say I'm extremely grateful for you. I understand and acknowledge the journey you're going through. Kindly remember you are not alone. And if you could remember these words, one day you're going to be amazed by your own selves. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Just trust this stranger on the internet. One day you're going to amaze yourself. And I wish and pray that the best of life, is yours. The best things in life is yours. Your dreams and your hopes, I almost feel like you're extremely blessed. Be blessed. God bless you. You're probably extremely kind and loving. I am extremely grateful that this message got to you. And there's somebody on the other side of this world that's sending you extreme amounts of love, extreme amounts of love. I hope you prosper and you grow and your heart heal. I pray for your heart. I pray for your heart. I pray for your heart. God bless you, and I'll see you in my next video.